You're listening to BKLYN Mixtape, a podcast from the Shelby White and Leon Levy Information Commons at Brooklyn Public Library, a show about everyday creators and makers just like you, living and working in Brooklyn, New York. And we're asking, what will you make today? My name is Matthew Irizarry. I'm a library circulation supervisor at Brooklyn Public Library, and I'm very excited today because we have not one, but 4 musicians joining us in the Info Commons recording studio. And together, they make up a band called All My Friends Are Stars. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, thank you for having us.
All right, so we're going to go around the table, and we're going to introduce ourselves, starting with the gentleman over here.
My name is Americk Lewis, the founder of All My Friends Are Stars, and yeah, I do music.
All right.
Hi, I'm Naiika Sings. I'm the lead singer of All My Friends Are Stars. BK, what up?
What's up?
My name is Nicholas Sosin. I was raised in Connecticut.
Tony Mazz from Long Island.
One of the reasons why we're so excited to have you guys here is because you recorded your first album in this space that we're using right here. So can you tell us how you came to record that album at the library?
So I remember maybe a year or two ago, my friend Nicholas here, he was like, yeah, I found a recording studio that you could record for free in Brooklyn Library. I was like, you're lying. He's like, no, I seriously, it's a good studio. So I was like, okay. So I kind of dismissed it, haven't really thought about it. And then one day he finally took me here to the Brooklyn Library, and then I got a chance to see the studio. I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Here's a studio, full studio. So at this point in time, in the creative process of making the album, I was thinking to myself, I said, you know what, I think the problem with music right now is that it's not connected to the people. It's like because we have all this technology, it's like I might just record a whole project in my mom's basement and then put it out and expect the people to connect with it. So I said, I think it's actually a good idea that we record music in a place like the Brooklyn Library Public and actually even invite people to come and listen to the sessions and give feedback while we're creating the music so that we know we're on the right path instead of just being in our own little bubble, spending all sorts of money in other studios or recording music at home. And then when we put it out to the public, they don't connect with it. So we really wanted to make a project that the public was going to connect with. And I thought it would be an amazing story on top of it that we did record this album here in Brooklyn Public Library.
That's really good. So those people that you invited in, were they like bystanders or you just automatically got them from some people that you knew, or how did that work?
Yeah, they were absolute strangers, bystanders. And every day that we recorded here, a different member of the team had to challenge themselves to find someone to come in and listen to our songs.
Wow.
Because, it's kind of scary,
really nice.
Talking to a stranger and saying, hey, can I borrow your time and, listen to my project. So all of us, we pulled someone from out in the library and asked them to come listen to the songs, and people always gave great feedback.
That's what's so special about a place like Brooklyn Public Library is that you could be right in the energy. And what I mean by that is that outside here, we have a bunch of people that are using all the facilities that you guys have, like the Adobe Creative Suite computers. And I'm looking every time I come in here to record these songs with my friends at the people that are pursuing their dreams. They're really in touch with what they want to create, and they have the tools to be able to do it here. And there's a lot of really good energy in this space.
A lot of times I remember the security guard, she knocked on the glass while we were recording and she was like, thumbs up. I was like, wow. Really? She's
not even be quiet,
good.
But thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's really good. Here's a question, and maybe someone else can answer this. How did you guys come up with the name All My Friends Are Stars?
I like the way she tells the story.
For years, he's had it as the sign-off on his emails. So I've known him about 7 years. And yeah, at the end of his emails, it would always be signed off, all my friends are stars, just not famous yet. So when he decided, roughly 5 years ago, to put on a music festival in Sweden, of all places, he was like, what should I call it? And I think that him and Nick were talking, and he's like, well, all my friends are stars, just not famous yet. Might be a little long. but we could still go long. We'd just cut it halfway through to All My Friends Are Stars, and it stuck.
Wow.
Because it's true.
All right. So you just said that, and I'm thinking I'm like, you know what? Do you guys want to be stars? Or is that like you're trying to throw everyone off? Like, not everyone has to be a star to be big. I don't know. Because that's what I get from your music. It's like you're not glorifying being a superstar. You're saying everyone is a star. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
Yeah, everybody's a star. Everybody has a talent, and he has a lot of points to add on it. I would like him to talk about it, but everyone's a star. Everybody has a talent. Everyone has something to offer. So that's what it's really all about. It's like, I don't want to overlook my friends and be chasing after some celebrity. It's like, I got amazing talent around me. I just need to like nurture that and curate that.
And that's kind of like what you mean by it's a collective movement. That's what you have on the website. It says it's more than a band. It's a collective movement, right?
Yeah, there's songs that we have on the album that we invited all of our friends to come participate in. Like Detox From My Phone, it's featuring 12 of our friends. We just invited everybody into the studio and we shared one microphone in the studio.
A new trend is on the rise, and now my friends don't go outside. A lot of folly going on. I got a detox from my phone. A new trend is on the rise, and now my friends don't go outside.
You said Detox
From my phone. That's
okay,
one
you
of
have
the
to
songs.
explain the title from that one right there.
Yeah, that record is really special. Americk was thinking about, the ways in which that we could connect with each other as humans. And it's not talking about throwing away the phone, just a detox. Just once in a while, just, put the phone down, look at each other in the eyes, and remember that what we share as humans with each other is really special, it's unique. And that's part of the message of All My Friends Are Stars, is that the unique combination of who we are, everybody has something beautiful to offer. And so Americk came up with this message, Detox From My Phone, and he recorded it in the studio, and that was the way the track lived for maybe 2 years or so. It was like a studio version. He had a friend singing on it, and it lived on the internet. Basically, we perform it with the track.
So what are some of you guys' musical influences?
That's a good question.
Do you all have different musical influences?
Yeah,
All right, so
definitely
we can start
different.
With you.
As a band, I would say the Arrested Development, the Fugees, and even some of the Black Eyed Peas and what they created. It's like really inspirational stuff. But when I grew up, hip hop, I like what Wu-Tang did. I like what Jay-Z did. I like Biggie Smalls and Nas. I love those kind of rappers.
So
yeah.
a big melting pot that you just
Yeah.
created. It's a lot of art and everything that you just created. Any musical influences on your side?
Yeah, I would say I'm a mixture of my parents. I'm first generation, Haitian American. And so but like my mom, she would listen to disco. My dad would listen to like classic rock, and then together they would throw that compa and all the Haitian music on. So I would listen to that. To boil it down, I have certain few people that I really love, like Chaka Khan.
Chaka.
I respect anyone who's cultivated their own voice. Like when you hear them, you know it is them. Tina Turner, Nina Simone. When you hear their voices, you
kind of remind me of Nina Simone a little bit.
What? Thank you.
That's a good thing. So one of the songs on your album is called Spread Your Light. Yeah. That's also another favorite. We're going to play it right now, and then
Perfect.
We're going to ask you a question.
When I say all my friends stars, I really mean it. So let's make sure that we spread our lights. Yeah. Pulling cameras, taking photos, this our moment. Nice to know you by next year will be some mogul. So just spread your light, girl, you're shining extra bright. Everybody has a talent, major your success in life. By the people that you touch, by the people that you reach. F going viral, we just vibing in Manhattan streets. Taking trips on trains at least 8 different jobs a week. Cause we steady grinding till we make it to the major leagues. Look, this is more than
And I remember when we recorded that song here in the library, that was one of the songs that we invited some people into the studio to listen to, and they were really excited. It was like, I could see this being in a movie or something. They were like so excited, and they follow me on Instagram to this day, and they wrote to us about it. So
that's
yeah.
a soundtrack song.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
is a soundtrack song. The song is about a group of people finding success in their music careers, but also making sure they support their friends. Can you talk about what Spread Your Light means?
Yeah, so all of us started as individual artists. You know, we all were thinking about what kind of impact we wanted to have in the world. And I was making a lot of music back in 2009, 2010, and I started sending it to Americk, and we were communicating by email. And, you know, some of the records I wrote at the time, he was like, oh, you know, how do you feel about it? And I was like, I like them. How do you feel about it? And he's like, well, it's not really my thing. And we started talking about the messages that I was
because he had messages like "I'm married to the money," like songs.
Yeah, I was sampling like a popular artist at the time, and then thinking about how to just make stuff that was hot, how to just make stuff that would get attention, make stuff that sounded like it was on the top of the charts. And he said, you know, I've been paying attention, and I feel like, given where I grew up from and what I see around my neighborhood, a lot of the kids, you know, they've been chasing the same stuff, been chasing fame, they've been chasing money. Personally, I don't feel really connected to that kind of message, and I want to put out stuff that's uplifting. And that was the first time I'd ever heard that kind of conversation. And so from there, I really just started investigating my own thoughts, my own journey of like, what do I value, and what is the light that I have, whoever I am, and what does that mean, the responsibility that I could have to be a force in this world that could uplift people and bring communities together. And that was a big part of my growth. And so, you know, this song is really about that.
After such a long time away from a home that we once hated, and we look back and inside we see that we are alive. We have everything we need.
So you're all from New York City?
Yep, born and raised.
New York. We love New York. So how does your home city influence your music? And does Brooklyn influence your music?
Well, I would definitely say Brooklyn influenced my music because my favorite rappers pretty much come from Brooklyn. But yeah, New York City influenced my music because when I grew up with the pressures of hip hop and bars, like having to write bars. And I mean, when we grew up, it was just the greats were on the radio. So our voice was trying to write music to emulate the greats and things of that nature. And so I really like am very conscious on like the bars and what I'm saying in my lyrics. And I think that's a strong byproduct of being from New York City.
It creates longevity too. The music, the actual words that you put together. And I think that nowadays artists are just throwing words together, which, you know, may be good sometimes for the musical ear. We all like to listen to different melodies, but in order to be in this game for a long time, you actually have to be saying something or resonating with people in general. And anybody else want to answer, how does Brooklyn influence their music?
I mean, I came up off a lot of hip hop too. And just like being somebody who's like always like, I just, you know, I'm in a neighborhood where it's not the easiest environment. No, Long Island, people don't really understand that, but like Long Island could definitely is just like any other place in the world. There's good parts, there's bad parts. And so, you know, I've definitely seen what the music can do to a listener from like a firsthand experience, just watching like how a lot of my friends turned out. So like I try to make sure that like I'm playing this balance within the music where it's just like I know the energy and I understand it, and I understand the frustration. I understand it because I'm in it. You know what I mean? But I also want to like give a different kind of perspective to just, you know, that's like that instead of what's being portrayed right now, because I see where that road leads us. You know, so it's really unfortunate. But so that's what I try to like weave into my lyricism.
So you guys have performed at many big venues. You guys are performing everywhere. So what's the biggest place you've ever performed in And how did you acquire that gig, if you want to speak on that?
I would say it was the castle that we performed at this summer in Sweden.
Which castle?
It was a
Schulaholm.
Like a real castle?
Yeah.
Like knights
Yeah.
type of
That's
castle?
to Sweden.
Yeah, they have a
I
nice.
gotta
They
see
went
a
on
picture of
vacation,
that.
but
Yeah.
the castle was there.
That's
yeah,
nice.
It was a huge castle, and we had about 700 people in the audience. And that came about because once when I was walking through Sweden, I heard some gospel music that I only know from Harlem in Sweden. And Sweden is not a spiritual, religious country. So I was like, where's this gospel music coming from? So I knocked on the door, and I basically bombarded this choir rehearsal, and there was these musicians called Ulf and Ulsa, Nomark. They were leading the choir, and they let me come join them, and then we became friends, and they performed at my festival that year, my very first festival. And so they invited us to perform with them. They were doing a concert, and we just happened to be in Sweden working on our festival for the 4th year. And since we were in town, they were like, hey, we got a big performance. We would love to have you guys perform some songs. So we joined them, and that was our biggest
What's up
show.
with this Sweden thing, man? I mean, like, I looked at the tour dates, and I'm like, Sweden, Sweden, Sweden.
Yep.
New York, Sweden, 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 Sweden. New York, Sweden. How did you get there? Why are you there so much?
That's a good question. I got there by accident in a way. Like, I always wanted to go to Sweden, but the city that I went to, Gothenburg City, I thought it was the capital of Sweden because I didn't do any research. But when I got there, I didn't know anybody. It sucked for 2 weeks. But then I met a good friend, and I started meeting other friends there, and I really liked it. And then people told me, come back in the summertime. I came in the summertime. I loved it. And after 3 years of flying back and forth, and that was like just my place to be creative and, you know, hang out with my friends. Like, I did my first painting there. I started to edit, you know, my first films there. And then I was writing great music there. So it was just like my place to get inspired. And after 3 years, I started to meet so many people and know so many people. I was like, let's bring people together. Let's just, you know, instead of me trying to meet everybody, let's just get everybody to come together. Everybody here is talented. Let's just do a little festival.
All my friends are stars.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that's when the festival idea, the All My Friends Are Stars Festival, came about. And then after that, I was like, okay, I need to come here every year because I promised I would do it for the next 10 years, this festival. And so then once I started inviting my friends to Sweden, then I really started to love it more. And then the band just became more popular from, you know, doing shows and also doing the festival that we do out there. So now it's just like when we get there, it's just a huge fan base. It's just like everybody's trying to book us for shows.
That I do love, and it also helps everyone to realize that music and whatever you put down on paper or wax or on the microphone or recording is not local. It can be heard by so many people. And
Absolutely.
You have also your music on Spotify.
Yeah.
And any other outlets you have it on? It's like on Google Music,
Yeah. All platforms.
iTunes,
Yeah.
all of that. How did that come about? Is it you're signed to?
We created our own label, our own distribution, and yeah, it's independently distributed. And yeah, we're just out there. We just want to get it out to as many people as we can.
You ever thought about writing a book?
Yes, absolutely. I think about it all the time. I cannot wait. I'm so
because I'm listening to you and I'm like, if you have, as a group, collectively created ways to put your music out there without going through the normal distributors like CD Baby or TuneCore or Tidal, you know, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Many people or artists don't know that you can do these things yourself and cut out the middleman and actually keep the proceeds and own your own masters for yourself.
And that's our mission. My mission is to do that. I want to inspire people to do it themselves and show people that it's very possible. Yeah, it's harder work. And it even takes a slower time in the beginning, but then once it hits, it hits. So that's the whole mission. And, you know, even with the festival, I'm editing right now a little documentary on it, but you'll see us putting this thing together, grassroots. We're in the street every day, performing in the street, telling people, hey, we got a festival, and we made flyers, and we're handing out flyers to people in the local stores, and we were able to get almost 1,000 people to come to our festival. So this is all by just talking to people and being in the streets and connecting with people, old school, grassroots.
That works. Put down the phone for a minute. Everything is not Instagram. You can actually do it on feetagram.
Yeah, you got them today.
I'm about to coin that phrase right there, feetagram. So what advice, and I really want everyone to answer this question, what advice would you give to any musical groups coming up at this moment?
The main thing I think for us and what we're seeing a lot of success from is just like share your music. It's just like I think that a lot of artists that I come across, and this has been me for many years, so it's taken me a long time, is like they'll create something, but then it just sits down in their laptop or on their head, or it's an idea in a
Grandma's
book.
basement.
Yeah, and it's like they don't put the art out there, so then they're not able to get fans. And when I say put the art out there, it's not just like you put it on the internet and expect it to like catch on. Mm-hmm. It's like even if you have a song, you're sitting down next to someone on the train, you say, "Hey, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I noticed you're listening to some music. Could you listen to my song real quick and tell me what you think of it?"
Wait, time out. This is New York. Is that gonna work?
Does
that work for you?
It's been working. It's been working for us.
Nobody's like, "Oh, you're creepy."
No.
Nobody's gonna.
I mean,
think
sometimes you get rejected, but it's never
worth
been
a try.
It's never been anything big. I mean, that's what you would have to do back in the day. And
squeakiest wheel gets the most oil.
We're fortunate. I mean, we're fortunate to have the technology that you can go and play music instantly for someone. I mean, years ago when it was only vinyls, you couldn't really do that. And even we perform in the streets. So when we perform in the streets or we perform in the subways, people can hear your music. But a lot of artists don't want to do that because they just want to do the glamorous stuff. They just want to do big stages and concerts and award shows and stadiums. And they don't realize, to get there, you need to have a fan base. And in order to have a fan base, you need to create fans. And to create fans is you got to share your art, bottom line. So that's my advice, is just share your art and not just share it on the internet. Share it however you can share it. Play, do music, tell people about it, do whatever you can.
I think going back to the question you had asked about advice, if I could give anything or leave anything with someone, it would be mainly spend time cultivating your own voice. Don't underestimate the power of the mundane things that happen in life. Even just basically, I made an omelet for breakfast. You never know. There might be at least 20 people out in the world that can be like, I relate to that. And for me, whatever you do to attain something, you have to do to sustain it. So if you're spending time cultivating what's true to you, you don't have to work so hard to keep it up because you're just being yourself.
I would say there are opportunities out there. There's so many resources. And as an artist, go look for them because they're out there. This Brooklyn Public Library is a huge resource for any artist and any person that wants to try out being an artist or someone that thinks that they're not an artist. You might be. Just give yourself a little nudge in the right direction and
just bring your own engineer.
Yeah. And look for the way to make it possible because it is possible. I'm sitting in the room as a result of believing that there might be a situation that I could find and create art.
Just follow us on Instagram, all my friends are stars, and follow your dreams, man. Keep spreading your light and definitely put as much positivity as you can in this world. The world needs that right now. I know that's a huge part of the success that we have. So if there's more artists out there doing that, it's going to really catch on because the world really wants that right now.
We're here in Brooklyn Library doing our thing. Oh, we're here in Brooklyn Library. All they ask me to do is sing, yeah.
This one is for all the people who come to this place looking for some knowledge they can put in their face. Open up a book and read. Open up a book and see the endless possibility you and me. It's all for free. Well, it's kind of paid for by sponsors and taxpayers, but it's still free if you show up yourself. Get up in here and get some wealth, yeah, some knowledge and some good info. Yeah, you know you could expand your mind, expand it, yeah. And all you do is pass the time, yeah, with all the things that you want to learn. Yeah, that's the true meaning of earn.
Officially burn.
We're here in Brooklyn Library, doing our thing, yeah. We're here in Brooklyn Library. All they ask me to do is sing. Singing is what I do. You do what you do. Have your mom and your sister and your cousins come and do it too. We are here for you. We love you, boo. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
To you too.
To you too. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, yeah.
That was dope. This podcast was created in the Shelby White and Leon Levy Information Commons by staff and patrons at Brooklyn Public Library. I'm Matthew Irizarry, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.